All right, we'll get right to it here shortly. I just need to get things set up on the phone here and wait for my wrench to arrive. A platinum wrench at that. There's not going to really be a whole lot to talk about in terms of new stuff that's going on, but
There's not going to
oh
really be a
Jesus,
whole lot
goddamn Christ! I had my goddamn fucking phone turned the fuck up. Unfucking believable. You know, Sage, this is what happens when you take away my 2 minute warning, and I can't get the goddamn stream started. You know, I can't get set up. This is honestly unprofessional. This setup here. Give me back my fucking 2 minute warnings. All I have to say. Fucking bullshit. I really would like it back. It's just me and Nathan. Well, I had the idea. Then, weirdly enough, Nathan had the idea the same week that I did for Indie Game Cloud. Now, I feel like it's a bit of a disadvantage for us, sort of, because our streams are a little bit shorter. I don't know, but the 2 minute warning has not come back. It's non-negotiable for now. But you know, I did like the 2 minute warning. The 2 minute warning. It was sports themed, which worked perfect. You know, you heard the little thunder and lightning, which was also perfect. Gave you a chance to catch your wind. And now all of a sudden it's like I'm trying to spit out some shit, get shit set up on the phone in case there's a goddamn comment while I'm trying to, research and all this. I can't do it anymore. I can't. No, we're not doing a 1 minute warning. It's 2 minute or no minute warning, Sage. Let's not be fucking idiots here tonight, okay? Let's not be fucking stupid, okay? All right. What do you want to start with? I don't know. There's really not a ton in terms of. Let's say the 2 minute is me sending you the message saying, "Here's 2 minutes. Here's 2 fucking minutes." I'm making you tardy to the party. Is that really? Did that just happen? That needs to be brandished. Making me tardy to the party. I like that. I don't even think. You know what? I'm going to give you a little credit right now. Something I don't usually do. I don't think I've ever heard that in a movie. I think you may have just thought of that yourself. Am I right? I think I'm right on that one. That seems like something that you've just kind of come up with on your own accord. You're welcome. I knew it. I knew it was something. I'm gonna, it was said on the Thundercloud stream, so I do have proprietary rights now. And you know what? I'm probably gonna use it to Nathan. I'm probably gonna say it from Nathan. So not just strong with the wrench, but thoughtful too. Thoughtful too. I appreciate that. Well, here's what we're gonna do first. Let's run over baseball. Not run over baseball with a car, but let's just run over baseball real quick. There's only 3 items to discuss, but I found a way to stretch things out because I still want to let you guys know that there's a lot of free agency left. So, a big signing today. I don't know how to say his fucking name, but Tatsuya Imai is signing with the Houston Astros. It is a 3-year deal worth $54 million. However, this guy was projected to make a lot more money. And he's got an opt out after every year, basically. So he can opt out after year 1 or 2, or become a free agent, obviously, after year 3. Now, I believe he's 27. Let me just take a quick peek here. I think he's 27 years old, isn't he? Yeah, 27 years old. Average fossil ball. Average fastball, 95 miles per hour. Tops out at 99. It looks like for secondary pitches here, I know he throws a slider, a sharp slider, and also throws a changeup and a curveball. Again, he was projected to make a lot more money. We'll go over that when we go over kind of the remaining free agents. This looks like a really good signing, and I know based on what I saw on Twitter, Yankees had saw a report last night from MLB Live that seemed to suggest that they were going to sign this guy. And I know that Yankees fans are up in arms today about not landing this guy. I mean, it's easy to say he's probably not going to be as good as Yamamoto, but this guy I think is going to be a stud. I don't really want to look at what his stats were over in Japan because I don't know how that's going to translate. I think he had like a 1.92 ERA, 178 strikeouts in 163 innings. I think I don't know, mid-range guy for sure, middle of the rotation guy with some certain upside to be a number two, maybe. I don't think he's going to be a number one, but for Houston, it looks like a good little replacement for Framber Valdez, who's still a free agent. I think it's a great signing, and I'm certainly happy that he's not going to be going to the Yankees there. So good on you, Houston, for getting rid of that. Now, the next thing I'm bringing up, it is only because he's a Blue Jay. Alejandro Kirk is going to suit up for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. Time out! When does the World Baseball Classic start? That is a great question, Steven. Let me check. When is it going to start? I actually like the World Baseball Classic. I wish they do it like every 2 years, though. March 5th, 2026. So we're going to have baseball in about 2 months. That's going to be pretty sweet, actually. I will tell you one thing, though. Alejandro Kirk joining Mexico. I mean, that's a big deal for Mexico. He's joining the likes of, what's his name there? Randy Arozarena, Jiren Duran. And there's some other motherfucker that might be playing, but I'm not sure. They got a couple good players, but Mexico ain't going to do shit in this tournament. Let's just be real here. But good for Alejandro Kirk. That's big for the big player for Mexico, man. He's one of the best players in Mexican history, probably. I don't know. And then finally, for baseball news, we've got another starter here, Kona Takahashi. So apparently he might return to Japan for the 2026 season. This is per Mark Feinsand. This guy here, based on what I've seen for his velocity, it kind of looks like he's needled it up a little bit from like 91 to 92, 93. Very low strikeout rate, so this guy doesn't have a high ceiling. 28 years old, you kind of look at his ERA, 3.04. That's not quite as good as 1.92. Guy doesn't strike out anyone, even though there's an uptick in velocity. So I say, get on your goddamn ship and head back to Japan, okay? Now, I do want to go over the remaining free agents. So I'm just going to bring that up real quick here. Because this is, okay, I'm only going based on MLB trade rumors top 50. This is just what they would have posted back in early November there. You're going to be surprised at how many free agents are actually still available. So obviously, this is what MLBTR considers for their rankings, that sort of thing. Kyle Tucker, right fielder. So that's your number one, still available. Bo Bichette, considered the second best free agent. He's still available. Then you've got... he's already signed. One sec. My Mose isn't Mosing quite the way it needs to. And you got Alex Bregman, so you got 3 of the top 5. I believe the next one's going to be Framber Valdez. So 4 of the top 6 free agents are still out there. Then today we just had Imai signed, so he's off the board. Considered the 7th best. He was actually projected for $150 million, and I don't want to say only got $54 million, but only got $54 million. But that's why he's got the opt-outs in there, because he knows he can make more next year. Cody Bellinger, he's considered the 8th best. He's still available. Kyle Schwarber obviously signed. Ranger Suarez, good little pitcher there. There's obviously going to have to be some traction with him soon. I mean, he's a starting pitcher who's been pretty damn good. Haven't really heard a goddamn thing about him, to be honest, so kind of crazy. I'm just going to go until the next one that hasn't been signed. So here's another real good starting pitcher, Zach Gallen, formerly of Diamondbacks, still out there. And that's a legitimate potential ace. I know he had a bit of an off year last year, but that's a good arm out there. So here's another guy that hasn't been signed. It seems like, based on what I've kind of been hearing with this guy, the Pirates or Angels, but it seems like it's more likely the Pirates are going to sign this guy. I think the Blue Jays have also had interest in this guy as well. Kazuma Okamoto, we've already talked about him. considered the 19th best free agent, honestly. So that's pretty interesting there too. We'll see what happens there. Eugenio Suarez hasn't been signed yet, so he's the 20th best free agent. A lot of fucking guys still out there. Chris Bassett, he's still available. He's kind of going to be that guy. I think he'll wait right till the end, unless he finds a match made in heaven, because there's still some pitchers ahead of him. Lucas Giolito, now to me, he's a fallback guy. He's not a very great pitcher, at least not in fantasy. I do expect him to regress next year as well. JT Realmuto, interesting. He's a free agent. You think that the Phillies will be trying to get something done with him. You know, they've had him for, 10 or 12 years now at least. But he's still out there. I don't know. We'll see what happens if he returns to Philly or not. Not many catchers on the market, so if you've got a catching need, Realmuto is definitely the guy to go to. Harrison Bader, 31st best, according to MLBTR. Nick Martinez, starter, still available. What else we got? We got Zach Little. Is he still available? Nah, he's signed. Never mind. Justin Verlander's still out there, and he actually does want to pitch next year. Who else do we got here? Sir Anthony Dominguez, he was playing with the Orioles and Jays last year. He's still available. He wouldn't be a bad little get for someone. He's not going to cost a ton. Maybe 8 to 10 million per year? I don't know the exact numbers. Maybe probably get him on a 2-year deal too. Tyler Mahle already signed. We went over that yesterday. Max Scherzer's still out there. He does want to pitch as well. Catcher Victor Caratini. I don't know much about him. And finally, Willie Castro. So I don't know how many names I named there. It seemed like I must have named at least a good 20. And I think I said, 4 of the top 6 and potentially 6 or 7 of the top 10 free agents are still there. It's just weird how baseball works versus other sports there. And then you still got a lot of notable fucking free agents. If you look at the honorable mentions there, you still got, Jesus Christ, man, I don't want to go over it too much, but you're going to have at least 10 to 15 of the honorable mentions there. So you still got a lot of free agents. Just where baseball doesn't work like football or basketball, where you're waiting for that top fish to sign. It's just like they know their market. They'll sign whatever the fuck they want, basically, right? So still a lot for us to go over. We're in the fucking new year. I mean, next month is when spring training starts, isn't it? It's early. It's usually early to mid-February. All right, let's get to our football news. Not a whole lot of football news, really. I do see that Ole Miss upset Georgia 39-34. Did not watch the game. Don't watch college games because they don't think to put them on our television here in Canada, at least not the channels I've got. Kind of interesting. Weeks after Troy Aikman was ripping the Miami Dolphins, he's been hired temporarily to be a consultant to help them find a new GM. That sort of thing. So kind of interesting. Troy Aikman's going to be helping in that regard. Just very interesting. Looks like Lamar Jackson is going to be playing this week for the showdown against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. I forget who reported it, so I don't know if it's legit or not, but it looks like TJ Watt will also be returning. So kind of nice to see some of the best players returning. Now, how good is their health going to be? I really don't fucking know. Now I'm just gonna turn back to the Packers a little bit because I saw some shit last night on Twitter that kind of angered me just a wee bit, just a little bit, and that being they're ripping the Packers because they're like, okay, so we picked up Trevon Diggs' contract essentially, right? So that's a fact. The remaining money would be owed to him if we were to keep him. So how does that cap look for the Packers? Okay, year one, 472,000. Year two, if we were to keep him, 15.5 million. Then, year three, 20.5 million. Year four, 21 million. But why would you get upset about looking at the cap figure? There's a thing called dead cap. The only way the Packers have to pay any sort of dead cap is if they release him before the playoffs. Or before they get eliminated, I should say. So, makes absolutely no sense. They can release him in next year. I mean, they can release him at any time, and there's no dead cap. So they can literally just basically say, hey, let's try him out in the preseason, see how it goes. We can even play him in the season and just pay him a prorated amount, basically, right? If we don't like what we see, we cut him. I don't really see the risk there. Might be nice to change the scenery. There was drama going on in Dallas, obviously. I think not LaFleur, fucking Halfley is a good match for him to potentially turn him around. I mean, mostly zone coverage, so I don't know what Dallas does if they were doing a lot of man coverage, and perhaps that's not something he's going to be great at doing anymore since his ACL injury. I'm really not sure. There is also the opportunity for a restructure. I mean, I think at this point a restructure would make sense, but I don't think you restructure until you have to restructure, because if you restructure the contract, then you're getting into guaranteed money. So I would just keep him around for a little bit. And just see what happens. If I don't like him, if I don't like what I see in spring ball, or summer ball, I should say, if I don't like what I see early in the season, he goes. Or you can restructure it and guarantee him some money. That's fine as well. But restructuring it, it's going to be very weird, because, I mean, what is he willing to take? Because, I mean, he is, turning 29. But what's he want, 2 years? 2 years for next year? Is he going to bet on himself? I'm really not sure. I'm just saying, I really don't know. But I'm just saying there's no risk in the deal at all, and there's a lot of upside. He might be done. And he might never play above replacement level ever again. But you're not going to really lose any money, so there's no harm, no foul, in my opinion. It got me also thinking today a little bit about next season as well. He's 28 currently right now, 2025. He's going to be 29 next season. Yes, he's going to be 29 next season. Okay, but he is going to be 29 at some point next season. He's not going to be 27. Check Pro Football Reference. Currently 27, and when's the birth date? The birth date's September 20th, so he's going to be 28 next year. So I don't know. Spotrack's off by a year. Maybe they mean by the end of the year. I'm not sure, but yeah, they got a year off, I guess. Yeah, I guess I mean, it's not a big deal. It really doesn't change much. He's getting to an age that's not very good for a cornerback, is my point. Now, maybe it's not going to hurt him a lot if he becomes a zone corner, like cover 2, cover 3, all that good shit. You don't necessarily have to be as fast or explosive. You still keep the eyes on the quarterback, that sort of thing. But it's just hard to see what the restructure would be. I don't know. But I'll leave that up to, Brian Gutekunst and Russ Ball. They know more about this stuff than I do, so that's who I'm gonna leave it to. And also, of course, Ed Policy. Ed Policy, our unofficial owner, because we don't really have an owner. Got me thinking, though, because everyone's talking about the cap and stuff, about real cap hits. I don't think him being best friends with Micah Parsons or going to Alabama with Xavier McKinney is a super big advantage. It's good, yeah. He wants to compete. Okay, he's got people that he knows, good culture, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, they want to make their money too. They're not just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to take $12 an hour to play with the Packers. But let's move off of him. I was really just trying to detail the contract structure. What'll happen will happen. We have no idea what's going to happen there. Speaking of not knowing what's going to happen, I just want to go over guys that I think are going to potentially be cut this season. So Trevon Diggs, obviously one of them. I don't think we signed him just to cut him, though. I think if we cut him, it's in season, in preseason, that sort of thing. There's no money that we have to spend. Now, this is where you kind of get into your trickier decisions. So there's three guys that I think could very well be cut this year. Let's start with Rashawn Gary. So Rashawn Gary, I mean, a good year, really good first half of the season, 7.5 sacks, only a 1.8% pressure rate, which is far below what average NFL edge defenders do. Has not had a sack in 9 weeks since getting one off old man Aaron Rodgers. Now, what's he do for the remainder of his contract? So after this year, not talking this year's already over, so let's not be fucking idiots. Next year, you're talking about a $28 million cap hit, and the year after, you're talking 31. Okay, well, if I'm in fucking kindergarten and I'm putting math on there, I'm saying that's what, $59 million? Am I wrong? I think I'm right there. Okay, so $59 million. Now, if you cut him this offseason, you got to do what? You got to pay 17 of that. So 59, take away 17, saves 42. Only going to save 11 million for next year, though. But again, you can always push money to the future if you need. Now, this is the season where he'll definitely be. He will not play 2027. So 2027, 31 million due. Only an $8.5 million cap hit. So to me, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Rashawn Gary gets cut. I'm unsure as to two things. One is like, okay, do we wait and see how the draft goes, how some of our players develop, and that sort of thing, and then make a decision there. The other thing is, if we designate him as a post-June 1st cut, does that lower the $17 million cap hit? Because if it does, then I would definitely say he's as good as gone. If it doesn't, and if you guys can look that up for me, that would actually be really good. Look up what Rashawn Gary's post-June cut would look like. Now, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what it would be, if it would go down at all. Usually, though, it does go down sometimes pretty substantially. So, is it worth $11 million on the cap this year? I guess that depends who's out there. We haven't started looking at free agency yet. We will be looking at free agency probably once the Major League free agency stops. That's when we'll start going over the NFL rumors and that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely going to be cut in 2027. I just said 11 million, Dan. You're telling me something I already said. 17 million cap hit, so it's 42 million over 2 years, or it's going to be 11 in the first, basically. For 2027, you're basically going to be saving what, 23 to 24 or 22 to 23, 8.5 million out of 31. So he'll definitely be cut 2027. I'm just wondering, do you keep him around one more year while either Luca Vaness or a draft pick or someone on our team or a free agent signing takes over for him? I wanted to know if he was cut post-June, because there's usually 2 times where people get cut. One's right during or before free agency, before the new league year. The other is post-June 1st. So that's all I'm looking for. Is there a post-June 1st cut? Sage is saying a $22 million saving. Okay, there's a $22 million saving if he's designated as a post-June 1st cut? Is that per Spotrac? Because that's easy. That's an easy cut. It's 42. I don't know if that's true. Really? Well, I guess rest in peace, Rashawn Gary. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it divides it by two, 8.5. Still not adding up, but still it's close enough. So I'll take. Well, let me see here. A post-June designation allows the Packers to spread his dead money hit, estimated to be over 17 million. So, I mean, it would lower it. I guess if you're talking the last 2 years, it would be 22 and a half each, but a little bit more, a little bit less up front, and then more the second year. It looks like. So, I mean, he's a guy I think is getting cut, especially if that's what's going to happen. If you're even going to save. Fuck, I was even just thinking, man, if you were going to save like half of the contract, 14 out of 28 or something, I'd be all for it. So, yeah, look for Rashawn Gary to get cut in the offseason because we do need to sign Tucker Kraft re-signing. We probably want to re-sign Quay Walker as well. Now, the next guy, and I'll get you guys to probably look up the same thing there in a moment. I actually think this guy's as good as gone. This guy being Elgton Jenkins, longtime Packer, 17.6 cap hit this year and a 24.8 the year after. So I'm certainly going to say he's gone in 20. Oh, wait. Never mind. I was reading this wrong. I was reading this as 26, 27. Elgton Jenkins is getting cut. You cut Elgton Jenkins, there's only dead cap of 4.8 million out of 24.8. So you essentially have gained a net of 20 million. He's a center. You don't need to be paying your centers that. Maybe putting Aaron Banks to center would make some sense, or someone else. I mean, we've got other offensive linemen that we can use. I think Elgton Jenkins definitely cut. So there's 20 more million for you if you need to make it. Now, I don't know what the Packers cap situation looks like. I do not think it looks very good, though. Yeah, 19 and a half is closer. Yeah, I'd mine around 20. So around 20, give or take. Yeah, it makes sense to me. So, yeah, Packers definitely getting rid of Elgton Jenkins in the offseason. Now, I'm not looking up offensive lineman stats, I'm sorry. But he's getting a little older, getting a little long in the tooth. I don't think he was overly effective, had a big injury as well. I don't think he's willing to take a huge pay. Like, he'd have to take a massive pay cut to come back. And even then, it's not going to come back. Well, the Packers are in cap hell right now. So that's kind of why I'm going over this a little bit. It's just so that we have an idea of, like, what we're going to be able to spend in free agency, because that's only a month away. And we'll start trying to prepare and figure out where people are going and know the other team's cap situations as well. The third guy I've got on his way out is Josh Jacobs. Now, Josh Jacobs, if he plays this week, probably going to get 1,000 yards rushing. He's, I think, 34th best in the league for yards per carry this year at 4 per carry. Receiving the ball this year, 282 yards, so not much different than what he's done last year, really. Gets a ton of touchdowns, but, I mean, this isn't fantasy league. This isn't fantasy league. We can find other ways to get touchdowns, in my opinion. I do not believe that Nate Hobbs is at risk of getting cut. I'll get into that shortly, because I know when we signed Nate Hobbs and Aaron Banks that they were not structured the way that the Packers' 4-year deals typically are structured, which their 4-year deals are usually structured as 2-year deals. So I'll give you the example with Josh Jacobs. So Josh Jacobs, when he signed with the Packers, he signed a 4-year, $48 million deal. Okay? So That's a substantial amount when you look at it at face value. There was no way the Packers were going to cut him in years 1 or 2, because year 1 carried a $12.5 million dead cap, and year 2, $16 million. So that's why I really don't see him, getting cut until this season coming up. So, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. He'll get cut at some point this year or the year after. So let's look at the cap hits, how it was spread for this 4-year deal. $5.3 million the first year, $11.3 the second, $14.6 the third, $16.6 the fourth. So literally, up front, you kind of look at that contract and it's like, okay, like what was it, 11, 16, 16 million for the first 2 years, essentially. So basically, that's how it works for him. Now, how the rest of it looks like, you're paying him 31 and change for the last 2 years of his contract for his cap hit. 14.625, 16.625. Now, to get out of the deal of Josh Jacobs, you're basically looking at $6.25 million in dead cap, so that basically frees up $8 million towards the cap. You can find a running back for cheap. You can go with a stable of running backs and be fine. You really don't need them. But if they decide, hey, we need them for one more year, then in 2027, it's only a 3.125 cap hit, which basically saves you $13.5 million for the last year. So, be interesting to see what happens. I'm interested if the post-June cut does much or not. But again, we're not talking about huge cap hits. We're not talking about freeing up a ton. I'm just saying this is kind of how the Packers typically operate with their 4-year deals. And I'm not necessarily sure that what Dan is saying is true. I'll read it and then I'll fact check it. Just give me a second here. All right, so Nate Hobbs is a high-risk candidate for being cut or restructured. Okay, so save $9 million in cap space before March 26 for Nate Hobbs. So Nate Hobbs is another guy who signed a 4-year, $48 million deal. I do not think his was structured like Josh Jacobs, though. Maybe it was, but the numbers I'm seeing do not match the numbers that are being reported by Dan. So year by year, $6 million cap hit, 13, 14, 14.7. That's his cap hits for the 4 years with the Packers. First year is pretty much done. Had we cut him this year, it'd be a $16.4 million dead cap. Obviously not going to do that. If we cut him for 2026, it's a $12 million cap hit that we're going to have to pay. And you're only going to free up $1 million in cap funds for 2026. So I'm not sure who's reporting it for Nate Hobbs. That's not true. That cap hit number or dead cap number, that's not true. Nate Hobbs, potentially the first out would be kind of like Josh Jacobs, $8 million dead cap in 2027 or $4 million in 2028. So this is not, you're not going to be able to get rid of him because you'd be kind of foolish to get rid of him if you're only looking to clear $1 million in cap space. Now, I get that you can do some other moves, that sort of thing, but I don't really understand why you do it for 12. $1 million is what we would free up, so I don't know if it makes sense. Nate Hobbs, you're just gonna hope he stays healthy. We need depth at the cornerback position. I think he'll be back next year. I do not see him as a guy that's going to. You know what I mean? I don't see him as a guy that's going anywhere. So he just needs to get healthy. Designating him as a post-June release would increase the savings to 9. I don't know. I don't know how to check the. I don't know how to check it on here. It's possible. But I just wouldn't bank on it. So even $9 million. $9 million's not saving you much. $4 million. I'm not sure though. I'm not really that sure about that. I wouldn't I wouldn't really see Nate Hobbs as a guy that's going to go. Now, I don't know what Jerry Alexander's contract does for us and frees up space. Before we move on, I'm just going to bring up the Packers cap situation because it's not ideal. But again, we're not the New Orleans Saints where we're $100 million over the cap. But it might be bad though. All right, so you look at the 2025. We want what 2026. All right, so 2026. Yeah, we're in a bit of trouble. Definitely in trouble. What's the cap currently at in the NFL? Current NFL salary cap. 279.2. Okay, so you got to think that it's probably going to go up 20 or 30 more million like it's been doing every year. So right now the Packers cap is at almost $313 million overall. So that means they're like 33 to $34 million over the cap. One guy I want to check out real quick before we get into it is I just want to check Brandon McManus and see what the money is there because I potentially think we're going to cut him and find another kicker. The dead cap, though, is kind of a bitch. It's not much, but dead cap of 3.3 if we cut him. Total savings of close to 12, but you're only really freeing up $2 million this year, so I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with Brandon McManus. But yeah, they're definitely. How much did I say they could free up? They could free up like 20, and then who was the other one? Josh Jacobs 8. So that's what 48 million. So that would bring the Packers 15 under. So don't expect a big offseason for the Packers, to be honest. Now this does include Trevon Diggs' salary as well, so that's worth noting. Just trying to see, like, is there anyone else they can kind of... There's not really much else they can get rid of, to be honest. Interesting. Now, let's just hope that the fucking salary cap goes up a ton and then we can make a couple more moves. But I feel like the bulk of the heavy lifting is done, honestly. It's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, they had a big off-season last year and a big off-season the year before. We'll see what they do. I mean, it really depends what's out there, too, you know what I mean? And how many guys do they have under contract? 43, so they still got to fill. They do still have to fill some spots. Now, the draft can fill some spots there, right? And they're going to obviously resign some players. And then they can push money down the line, too. Like if they re-sign Quay Walker, they're not going to front-load that deal. They're going to push it down like every NFL team does. Nobody front-loads deals anymore. It's crazy. All right, well, there's some shit to think about for the Packers. But, yeah, we're going to get out of here. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll probably do a video game. I might do that hunting game tomorrow. Alright, hit the fucking like button, subscribe, tell a friend about the goddamn fucking program so we can get some fucking subscribers. I'm getting the hell out of here. Good night.